Hey there, survivors, how's it going? I'm your host, Douglas here at Drumboy Productions, bringing you another Trick or Treat Studios mask review. And today we'll be continuing our journey taking a look at many different Trick or Treat Studios products by taking a look at a piece from a new franchise, or at least a new franchise that we're taking a look at this season, because we're going to start taking a look at A Nightmare on Elm Street masks. Trick or Treat Studios has produced quite a wide array of different Freddy designs from the different A Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and we have not reviewed many of those. In fact, I think the only one I've taken a look at directly on the channel so far was the 1984 classic version of the mask. And I guess today is kind of no different because the mask that we're taking a look at today is also from 1984. Here we have the Trick or Treat Studios Dawn Post Freddy Krueger reissue mask. Now, for those of you watching who are huge mask fans and collectors and keep up with this kind of news, you'll know that a couple of years ago, Trick or Treat Studios ended up acquiring the rights to a couple of different mask companies, one of which is Dawn Post Studios. So whenever they acquired those rights, they acquired the ability to reproduce several other different classic designs, and one of them that was chosen is this classic Freddy Krueger design. Now, as I stated, these masks are reissue masks, and there's a few different reissue masks we'll be taking a look at this season. Now, what that means is, this mask was produced, technically I believe, in '84. I could be wrong on that, you guys let me know in the comment section down below, but I'm pretty confident that Dawn Post put out the original version of these in 1984. Regardless, those original masks are mostly rotted away, in states of decay, and even just have a slightly different finishing than these masks. So, using the original sculptures, Trick or Treat Studios brought them back to life, and you can get the same exact sculpture from back then, modern day, in some new latex with a new paint job. And this mask in particular is not super accurate, but is really cool with the history that it holds, because I'm pretty confident this was the very first mass-produced Freddy mask. Any of you out there who are huge fans, if you know of any other previously mass-produced Freddy masks, let me know, but I believe the one by Dawn Post was the very first. Taking a look at the sculpture here, it is definitely not accurate to any of the films. Obviously, it's supposed to closely resemble Freddy from the original, but in my opinion, the sculpture isn't super accurate, which to be fair, back then they weren't necessarily shooting to make a 1-to-1 scale replica. That just wasn't anything really anybody was too concerned with at that point in time. And I think it shows because a lot of the other mass-produced Freddy masks just got further and further and further away from what actually looked like Freddy Krueger. The textures on this thing are really cool and really nice, although, yet again, not very accurate to what we see with the original Freddy makeup. It does have some sculpted in teeth here. You do just get the top teeth, no bottom teeth, so he's not making a full grimace, but he still looks pretty creepy. I would say it's not a very scary mask, in my opinion, but I'm sure back in the 80s, when people weren't used to seeing like really nice quality silicone masks even, this was a pretty effective Halloween mask. It's also worth mentioning that these, or at least some of these masks, did come with a foam Freddy hat that was pretty terrible. A majority of those are lost or destroyed modern day, and I would even guess that a majority of them were probably already damaged by the time that they hit stores back then. I don't think Trick or Treat Studios offers a version of these with the hat, and personally I am completely fine with that because those things did not look great. And also, if you're looking to get one of these, you probably just want this as a vintage mask collector, someone who wants to have one of these older style masks represented in your collection. If you're looking for a mask for cosplay or costuming, this would certainly not be my first choice. If it's the last day before Halloween and all they have left is this on the shelf, it'll certainly get the job done, but it is not a very realistic looking Freddy Krueger mask. And then obviously getting to the paint job itself, it is a very simple paint job. We have one flat flesh color here, and then all of the pink kind of flesh color was sprayed on, and they definitely did a rub out here, leaving it all in the recessed parts of the mask. And then it looks like they did go in and add just a little bit of coloration to some of these darker wounds. And obviously teeth are painted very basically, nothing too fancy there, and they did add a little bit of gloss to the wounds and the teeth. However, on the original masks, I do believe pretty much the entire mask was glossed. So that's really all there is to say about the paint job and the sculpture. It is a pretty simple mask, which yet again, this mask originates back in 1984. At the time of recording, 41 years ago. And now we've reached the point in the video where I read you all the excerpt directly from the Trick or Treat Studios website, so let's go ahead and take a look. We have A Nightmare on Elm Street 84 Freddy mask for $59.99, a Don Post design. So at least so far it has not credited the original sculptor. It says, straight from your nightmares comes this incredible reissue of the original Don Post Studios Freddy Krueger mask. This mask was developed from the actual master of the one originally released in 1984. Now cast in quality latex with an enhanced paint job, grab this piece of nostalgia for your costume or collection. So yeah, there you have it. It's a reissue of a classic mask design. Most of the people that are interested in grabbing this, as I mentioned earlier, are more so mask collectors, or maybe even people who have memories of owning one of these back in the 80s that want to own one again. So for many of you out there, I'm sure this is a fantastic addition. Personally, I will say this is not a must-add to any collection. It is certainly a great pickup, but if you're trying to be a completionist to have all the different movie designs, I would not recommend this for that or for costume wear. This would be something I would solely pick up if you intend to collect it, although it is still wearable and can be used for costume purposes. So if you're interested in adding the Don Post reissue Freddy mask by Trick or Treat Studios, I strongly recommend you pick one up directly from the Trick or Treat Studios website or one of the many retailers that offers these masks. And with that being said, I think that about covers it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for some more videos coming very soon, and I'll see you next time in your dreams.